Karen, you look beautiful, by the way.
Thanks. So
I
do
was
you.
like, I was like, your hair looks so amazing right now. My husband Kevin, I think you guys were talking about Tarantino. He
Yes.
just spoke with you.
Yeah, he mentioned that I was going to meet you in a few minutes.
Yes, we watched the movie last night, and I thought it was completely badass. Loved it so much.
Oh, thanks.
I want to geek out with you because Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen is one of my favorite books of all time. So to hear Jane Austen, Agatha Christie in a female action film, I was so excited. So I'm curious for you, who were some of your favorite authors just growing up, or maybe even now? Do you have some favorites?
My favorite book of all time is probably Alice in Wonderland.
Oh my God, look,
Uh,
of course I have Alice in Wonderland up here. Like,
yes. Oh, I just love it so much. I love like the whole idea of this girl going on this journey, going down the rabbit hole and just having like this wild adventure away from everyone. I think I love stories like that in
yeah.
general.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I love that book too. I was talking to one of my good friends about this interview. She's a huge fan. And we were honestly just saying how we were like, Karen excels in every single genre. She's literally done like comedy with like Selfie and Jumanji. You've done action, you've even done like Western, you've done horror with Oculus. I'm just curious. And of course, like sci-fi, of course, with Guardians and Doctor Who. Is there a particular genre that you just really thrive and love working in, or is it not even about that for you? And is there a particular genre that you just like want to get back to?
Oh, great question. I mean, I don't really like think about the genres so much when I'm playing the parts because I sort of tackle everything from the same perspective, which is like, how do I inject truth into this? Like, how do I
Right.
find the emotional hook and then research the hell out of that on like
Yeah.
psychology.com? That's where I spend my time.
Love it.
Even in fun movies, I do that. So it sounds really serious, and the director gets worried when I'm like, I'm going to discuss her abandonment issues in this film. Like, I'm going to be playing with that. And he's like, okay, well, this is a fun movie. But usually it manifests in a fun way, hopefully.
It's really more about like the deep dive into the character for you then.
Yeah, and just it informs weird choices that you might make. Like if she has abandonment issues and then someone does show her love, like how does she react to that? You could
Yes.
get interested, you could laugh at that, you could push that away, you could get emotional, you could do anything.
Yeah, yeah, no. Thank you for speaking on that. Well, I thought, like I said, the action in this movie is completely badass. But my favorite part of the movie is just the theme of motherhood. I love it when your character says the bad guy's like, "Oh, well, I have an army," and your character Sam's like, "Well, I have my mom." I have such a special relationship with my mom and my mother-in-law. I'm just curious, who are those like motherly relationships that you have in your life? Because that was such a special part of this film.
Yeah, it really was. I would say my own mother is definitely that. I mean, I grew up seeing her work multiple jobs and really kind of like she wasn't a sit at home type of mum at all. And so I definitely grew up with an example of like getting out there and getting what you want and not just waiting for it to happen to you. So that was really cool. And then I would say also the women in this movie, like just working with them, I feel like I learned a lot and got a lot of advice, like in different ways from them. Like Angela Bassett, I remember like her helping me with this thing that I was confused about with why my character would do something. She really simplified it for me. And then Michelle Yao was telling me like use your height in the action sequences, not to hunch over. And I was like, this is amazing. I feel like I'm getting trained by the best in the industry.
It was honestly such a treat to watch all of you because I've been watching Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh like since I was like a little kid. So this movie was like just such a badass film. Thank you so much for your time, Karen. I can't wait for fans to see this next month and stay safe out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye. Well, so nice to meet you, ladies. Angela, I think this is my third time chatting with you. First time via Zoom, though. Congratulations on this movie. My husband Kevin and I watched it downstairs on our 77-inch TV, and it was honestly so badass. I really, really want to geek out with you, ladies, because I love the mention, Carla, your characters. Like, here's your Agatha Christie, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice is my jam, and I loved hearing these authors mentioned in a female action film. So I'm curious who your ladies, what are your favorite authors? Angela, I'll begin with you. I'm sure you have a ton, but what are some of your favorite authors?
Oh, I really fell in love with Zora Neale Hurston. You know, when I discovered her in Langston Hughes and when I was in high school. So yeah, those were my jams that really, got me into, into theater and dramatic readings and whatever I could do, as the one lone person that was, geeked out about theater growing up.
Very cool. Carla, what about you? What are some of your favorite authors?
Well, I have to admit, I'm a personal lover of, I haven't read her in a long time, but Agatha Christie was always, for me, mysteries were just something that I love so much. Murakami, I'm always a fan of. It's interesting, I realized, and it was something I was thinking about with this movie too, when I first got it, is that I think because we read so many scripts, I don't know if you find this, Angela, but I read less novels now than I used to.
Oh, wow.
I was actually in doing the movie, I was like, I gotta get back to my reading novels because I feel like I'm like falling behind, and they're so enriching,
You get a good book and you're there all day. You just won't turn you loose.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. I'm reading James Salter's Light Years right now, and I think he's an amazing writer.
Cool. I didn't even think about that you ladies probably have so many scripts poured into your laps that it does kind of you miss novels at sometimes. Thank you for sharing that. Well, like I said, obviously the action is badass, but I really just loved the theme about motherhood in this movie. And I have such a special relationship with my mom, but just all of the different themes between the characters. It wasn't even necessarily their biological mother, just all the themes of motherhood and friendship. I'm just curious for you ladies, what are some of those special relationships in your life, and those mother figures in your life? Angela, I'll begin with you.
Oh, well, definitely my mother, who was a single mom, was working hard, just trying to, make $1 out of 15 cents, that sort of thing. But also she had my aunt, my father's sister, who sort of stepped in there also, so, and the choir director and so there were, and the teachers, there were just a community that she gathered together out of, necessity sometimes, and I was saying earlier, she would drop us, my sister and I, off at the library. So probably the librarian there, that was a safe place. And, in a place that you could go into books and travel the world and really sort of assess that the world was bigger than the block, the block you lived on,
Very cool, because I love the library is a major theme and setting in the film as well. Carla, really quick for you, what are some of your motherly relationships in your life?
I would say again, also my mother, who I had a very atypical childhood, and my mom and I traveled a lot together, just the two of us. Cool. And also my aunt Carol. So we were talking about the theme of aunts, but then I would say that I've been really blessed to find women along the way who have been incredibly sort of willing and wanting for me to shine as well. And so very early on, my best friend of over 20 years, Connie Britton, and I started, we were at the beginning of our careers. And we both have been champions of each other since then. And it's been more than half of our lives now. So those kind of relationships within this business too, I think, so many people think that there's this sort of cutthroat. And I find that there's so many incredible women in this business who support each other. And so that's been major for me as well.
Really, really cool for you to speak on Connie. I was obsessed with Dirty John. Well, thank you both so much for your time today. Carla, my husband and I watch Sin City all the time, and Angela's Soul was one of our favorite movies last year. I'm sure people tell you how much Soul's amazing, but really, it's just such an incredible movie. Thank you both so much for your time today, and I can't wait for fans to see Gunpowder Milkshake. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on this film. My husband Kevin and I watched it on our 77-inch screen downstairs, and it looked absolutely beautiful. I honestly love the cinematography and the colors. It looked gorgeous. I'm curious when you actually shot this movie and when the last time all of you guys were in person together.
That's, first of all, hi Lauren, thank you so much. It's great to hear. We shot this movie 2019.
Yeah.
And a couple of months before the pandemic broke.
Yeah.
And that was the last time we all saw each other. I think I met Karen briefly in LA later, but most of the times it's through Zoom and FaceTime. And I have to admit, I do miss all of them.
Yeah, it's true. I wish you guys could have, a premiere and everything. Like you said, I'm a fan of all of these women, literally obsessed with all of them. And what are some kind of fun behind the scenes memories you have with working and filming back in 2019, when you were the last time you were with each other in person?
Well, I have to admit, this was beyond my wildest dreams. I'm a fan of all these ladies, and working with them was just a blast. I have to admit that at one point I almost felt like it feels like I organized this party, but it's not my party anymore. They were having
That's so funny.
they were having so much fun. I mean, sometimes like, okay, we're ready to shoot. Where's everyone? And they were like in their own little world. So it was a lot of fun. And then they were doing all these crazy videos behind the scenes. And I think it's all over social media. So it was just so nice to see how they all bond and the whole chemistry together and hearing their stories and their little things. So it was an ongoing thing throughout all production, just watching from a side how great they all get along.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I told you I obviously love the action in this movie, but what I really loved is the message of motherhood. And you see Karen's character, Sam, be kind of a mother to this child. And of course, Lena Headey, who plays her mom, they're sitting down, the bad guy's like, I have my army, and she's like, I have my mom. I thought that was honestly my favorite line in the whole movie. And my mom is, a super special woman in my life. And I'm just curious, if that was a theme that you really hoped kind of got, through with this movie, because it just really, really was so good.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it speaks to all of us, and all of us have a different relationship with our moms.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little sister, and I've seen her grow, and her relationship with my mom and my relationship with my mom, and it just felt natural to put all of those in. My sister's middle name, by the way, is Emily, so it's a little bit of
That's so cool.
to Emily in the movie. But yeah, I think you nailed it. It's all about that. It's the sins of the mother follows the sins of the daughter, and how the circle must be broken. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. That was the best part of the movie. And I thought, like, Karen and Lena, I just love to watch their mother and daughter relationship. And like you said, I think that there are so many different types of mother-daughter relationships, and that I think all of us are able to relate to them at some point in this film. Thank you, Navot, for your time today. And I can't wait for fans to see this movie when it's out on Netflix next month.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Bye.